Welcome to another edition of Coffee with the Goose, where we talk about things that are interesting, fascinating, and irritating. I am the Goose. Always glad to talk with you, and I'm so grateful you join me for all our shows. Let's start, as we always do, with some good, strong coffee. Strong, just like my opinion. And I got some creamer to make it sweet, just like me. Well, let's talk about something very, very serious. And that is the drug war in the Philippines. I know a thing or two about drugs, or more than a thing or two. I have been guilty, okay? I grew up in the 70s. You almost had to get high back then, right? Unfortunately, it got the better of me, and tobacco as well. I became a slave to the chemicals, I'll admit. And only God could deliver me from that addiction, and he did. And it's been 22 years. I'm very humble and very grateful, and so thankful that I was able, with God's help, to kick that habit. Now, why do I mention that? Because when you talk about the drug war, there's two sides to this. Do you want to fight the drug trafficking industry? Of course. Do you want to punish people who are addicted to drugs? Do you? It's an addiction. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Let's talk about President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs. And make no mistake about it, it's a war. When he took office in 2016, he was upfront about it. He was 100% honest and truthful when he said, drugs are destroying the youth of our country. We see that in the United States. We see it all over the world. It destroys the youth, and it's a painful thing to see. Now, what Duterte did, he does not dilly-dally around. He took it head on. He, first of all, said to his backers, you want to kill 1,000 drug addicts? Go for it. Do it. And I'll back you. I'll protect you. Hey, that's kind of harsh, isn't it? Well, that just shows how serious he is. Now, before I go any further, I'm not going to say I'm pro-Duterte or I'm against Duterte. I'm not getting into that. I'm not a Filipino citizen. What I want is your opinion. I want to know what you guys think. And I know you have some very strong opinions. Most of them pro-Duterte. Okay, but I'm going to lay out the facts, and it's painful. It's painful to see what drugs does to your country, and it's a war, including a drug war, is painful too. People suffer either way. Now, how many people have been killed so far? Well, the estimates vary. According to the government, over 5,000 people, and it's been 3 years? Almost 3 years. And according to critics of Duterte, about 20,000 have been killed. Now, when I say Duterte killed 5,000 people, okay, who should I say killed him? It's his baby. It's his war. He's the leader of the country. He didn't pull the trigger, but he's the general. He's in charge. Okay, so again, I'm not. I'll repeat what I said earlier. I'm not saying I'm pro Duterte or against him. I'm not a Filipino citizen. Most of you guys watching are. I want to know what you think. So give me those comments, and I read them, and I'll respond to some as well. Now, it's a harsh business. Okay, he's not just going after the small fish in a big pond. Okay, although his critics say the poor people are suffering the most. Well, they're suffering, no doubt. It's the people who are addicted to drugs are not wealthy. They're poor. But he's going after the big fish in the big pond, too. He's going after police. He's going after judges. He's going after politicians. He's not the gloves are off with Duterte in this drug war. He's very serious about this. Now, he's received criticism from outside the country. You're going to have that. The United Nations, who I have no respect for to begin with, so take that for what it's worth. But leaders of other countries have they've criticized Duterte, saying, "Oh, come on, humanitarian. Well, we need to. You're killing all these people. You're a murderer." Well, he's not. He's trying to stamp out the drug trade in the Philippines. So I'm not going to call Duterte a murderer. He's trying to solve the problem. And one thing I am in favor of with Duterte is he speaks his mind. And when people in other countries, even the United States, even countries who send a lot of money to benefit the Philippines, he doesn't care. He tells them straight out, and he's told President Obama in the U.S. this in no uncertain terms: "I'm not your slave. You're not my master. I don't serve you. I serve the people of the Philippines. They're my boss." And so he's right. Whether you agree or disagree with his policies, he's absolutely correct, and that's what he's trying to. That's who he's trying to serve and trying to protect. So he's going after everybody who's guilty. Now here, and I'm asking you. This is not my opinion. I'm asking you, how much is too much? Okay, is it a democracy, or is it a dictatorship? Is it martial law? Is that what we're seeing? I'll leave it up to you to decide. But critics in the Philippines say Duterte is heavy-handed. No one's there to call him out and stop him. He's also been criticized, and we see this in the United States. I've been a member of the media, although I didn't act like this. The media has an agenda in the United States. They tend to be leftists. They tend to be liberals. They tend to be Democrats. And anybody who's conservative, and Duterte in many respects is, they don't like him. And that's true in the Philippines with the journalists. They do not like Duterte, and they're quick to criticize him. Some journalists have been attacked. Some have been jailed. And of course, people go, "Duterte, why are you doing this?" He is quick to say, "No, I'm not." He doesn't like the media because they're critical of him, but he says, no, I'm not putting any of them in jail. It's not me. It's some of his backers are doing this. So he's innocent in this regard. Now, again, he speaks his mind. You may not like what he says. Where's the filter? And I know when I compare him in some respects to President Trump in the United States, you guys get so mad at me. I'm not saying he's just like Trump, but he is in this regard. When he has an opinion, he's not going to check to see if he's going to hurt anybody's feelings. Just like Donald Trump, he's going to tell you what he thinks, whether you like it or not. He has gotten into some trouble with his remarks. At one point, not in the two, pretty recently, he said, Hitler killed 3 million Jews. We've got 3 million drug addicts. I'm going after them too. Oops. People were quick to jump on that. And he apologized. So he understood that was probably a little too much. But, do you want to criticize him for what he says, for his lack of a filter, if you will, or you're going to criticize him for his policy? It's up to you. Whether you like what Duterte does, let's talk about the pros and cons. Is it working? Well, it's been 3.5 years, or about 3 years, I should say. There are pros and cons. The pros: lower drug crime rate, lower petty crime rate. Because how do many, remember, most, if not all, drug addicts are poor. How do they get their money to feed their addiction? Robbing people, stealing from people. That's what we call petty crime. The petty crime rate has gone down in the Philippines. The drug use rate has gone down in the Philippines. The streets are safer. And that's why you see the vast majority, over 80% of Filipino citizens love Rodrigo Duterte, is because their kids can walk down the streets and their wives safely. There's not this imminent danger of, drug addicts robbing or raping or killing just to feed their habits. So, not all drug addicts are innocent little victims of their addiction. They can turn into animals too. Let's face it. What are the cons? Those are the pros. What are the cons? Corruption. And no, I'm not saying Duterte is corrupt. Don't get ahead of me. But when you have this much money, this much power changing hands, or a battle over this much money and this much power, you're going to get corruption. And unfortunately, you see police killing people, planting evidence, stealing money. You're going to have that, unfortunately. And, this is another of the cons, the bad side of the drug trade. What is the underlying problem? What is the cause of people doing drugs? It's not just the chemical that they become addicted to. Why do people become addicted to begin with? I know in my case, many, many years ago, I had my reasons, and I'm able to teach my children, avoid this situation, avoid these kind of people. But, when you're shooting them up and asking questions later, unfortunately, one of the questions is, why did they start doing drugs to begin with? That's something that needs to be addressed. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Now, again, I want to remind you, this edition of Coffee with the Goose, even though my opinion is strong, just like my coffee, this isn't my opinion. I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm trying to give you facts, trying to ask you questions as viewers of Coffee with the Goose. That's what it's about. I'm not a Filipino citizen, but the country is very close to my heart. I've lived there. My wife is a Filipina. I love the Filipino people and always will. It's you guys are beautiful, beautiful people, but it's a problem. The drug trade is a problem there, just like it's a problem in the U.S., and we need to fix it. And I want to know what you have to say. So please let me know. That's it for this edition of Coffee with the Goose. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for subscribing. And don't forget, we're on Facebook now. I will answer all your comments on Facebook, and you can find out what's up next, what's down the road. Got a lot more shows to come. Thank you again for watching, and you take care.